And we are live. This is it. Day 2 of 7 days of live. Thank you so much for being here. If you're here in playback, thanks for sliding by. This is the second day of 7 days of live. If you're in the comments right now, let me know if you can see me and hear me. Am I good? Are we good? Are we good? A lot of people here right now. McLovin said he probably wasn't going to be able to make it. I'm glad you're here. Jay Wolfie, what's up? Ryan Comey. I gotta make sure I got that right. Ryan, appreciate you being here. Wooshi, what up? Mr. Pantone. Jack Koss, what's up? Darko, what's happening? Ibrahima. MN Comic Books. Just gonna have to agree to disagree. I must have missed that conversation. I saw y'all talking MCU beforehand. I saw it. Looks like the stream is healthy. I don't look glitchy. There's 35 of you here, so let's get going. Again, for everybody in playback. I continue to say it. But what we're doing here is I have 2 reasons why I'm doing 7 days of live. I came up with it not too long ago. I doubt very seriously I'm the first human to ever do it. But, oh, come on, Matt. Really? No mic? No mic? What do you mean? No mic. Just went silent. Hold on. Hold on. Am I muted? Hold on. Pop. Yo, I got sound bars happening. Can y'all not hear me? No, we can't hear you, Matt. This is just so classic me. It's okay now. All right, jeez. Guys, I think you're getting to know that this is like, it's a part of me, this technology thing. Good Lord. Whew. All right, I don't know what you last heard, so here's the deal. The reason we're doing 7 days of live is 2 reasons. 1, I wanted to engage with you guys more. The dilemma with putting out a lot of content is that it takes time, it takes editing. Now that we have an editor, it's helping so much. Shout out to Jean, who's helping me crank out this content. But I wanted to take the rest of that time and be able to engage with you more. So I was like, let's do it. I've wanted to do this for a while. 7 days of live. I wanted to also push myself to see, can I make it to the schedule? Can I get to you guys? And I wanted to see what happens when you go live for 7 days. What happens to the audience? What happens to our interaction? Is it better? Does it feel different? And I think that it will, because we usually just go live on Sundays. So anyway, Alex W, the why of sound disappearing. It's just me. Paul's in the chat. What's going on? Going back to work. Have a great chat. Appreciate you being here, man. See you, Paul. Wooshi, bye, Paul. Everybody's got love for Paul. All right, I'm just scrolling through the comments here. Hang tight. All right, so again, tonight is about the why, and the why is the driving force. You've heard me talk about this in the podcast. You've heard me talk about this in the videos. I have 2 dedicated videos to the why and like sort of the journey on this thing. Jake Schwarzer, what's up? A few of y'all asked me how I'm doing. I'm doing well. I'm blessed to hell I'm back, man. I really am. Movies are terrible is up in here. Jeremy. Yeah, doggo cam, I know, right? Okay, so this topic, 6 of the 7 topics were picked by the patrons. Like y'all came up with some comments or some topics for me. I brought it to the YouTube channel. You guys voted on it, and the top ones, just like the highest percentage is how we went in order. So this was the 2nd highest desired topic. And A Life to Die For, I believe, was the person that came up with this. And she said, you've talked about your why, but you really haven't gone into like major depth. So what I want to do is selfishly talk about my why, because I think that it will help anybody out there that might not have a why, or at least share and shed some light on what that why is. This is not unique to me. Your quote-unquote why is something buried in psychology. But the why is simply your driving force. And I'll tell you sort of a little backstory of, what got me to be sort of who I am and why I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing. When I was 19, I was walking in a parking lot. Jenna was in the car about 75 yards away, and she was waiting on me as I was going in the store. Okay, there were cars parked on the left side of me. I was walking in a parking lot, and I'm on the phone with my dad. Phone is in my right hand, so my peripheral vision is like blocked. Can't really see anything. And as I'm walking and talking to my dad, I feel something touch my knee, my right knee, and I look down, and it's the bumper of a car, and I was like, oh, holy crap, this person just slammed on brakes in time not to hit me. And so the person pulls through, and a guy in the back seat looks at me and said, "Get your ass out the way." And just 19 years old, full of testosterone, just I reacted how I shouldn't have, but in anger I responded back like, "Bitch, like really?" And like, you almost ran me over, and like, you're calling me out. So anyway, I kept walking, but I heard him going off, and he was like, "Oh, hell no!" Like getting out of the car, and sure enough, he and I both circled in the parking lot, like put our dukes up, and we were about to go. And there I am, 130 pounds, soaking wet, flip flops, glasses, and just so unprepared for life and what this moment was right there. And this dude he was a big guy. Like, he was overweight, but the thing is, like, he had some power for sure, and I mean, he could have killed me. He could have killed me. So we're circling, and I said, like, "Dude, you almost ran me over, and now you're trying to fight me." And one of his boys ran up, and he's like, "Hey, cool out," and stopped him. But I felt so exposed and ridiculous and caught off guard and just silly, to be honest with you. So I walked into the Walmart because I was like, "There's cameras right there. Like, I know that was caught on camera." And I was like, "Yo, like, I need to file something." Like, like, I was just, I could have died, And Walmart was like, "Yeah, you're going to have to take it up a PPD." And when they said that to me, it was such a moment of like, get your shit together. Like, that's how I read that. It was like, get over it, We're not, like, we don't give a damn. Like, and like, had I gone to the Pensacola Police Department, they wouldn't have given a crap. I mean, sure, that would have filed some paperwork, but I would have just made some work for someone, and it wouldn't have amounted to anything. So I walked out of Walmart with this just honestly revelation of like, I am completely exposed, and I have to do something about it. From that moment on, I had to take responsibility. And the very next day, I got in the gym. The very next day, I went to the gym for 8 months straight with a good friend, Eric Bowles. Had I not gone with him, I don't know what my life would look like. And we went for 8 months, and I saw my body change, which was incredible. I was just trying to just put on size. I was 19 years old, eating everything in sight, and I'd gained about 35 pounds in 8 months, 35 pounds. Not all of that was muscle, but a good portion of it was muscle. I think probably 15 pounds at least was muscle. And, when you're young and you're eating and you're just training, that's called newbie gains. So anyway, that was sort of the start of it. And eventually I started to see my mind change through fitness. Like, eventually I started seeing me reaching for quote unquote bigger and better things. I started like dreaming a little more. At this point in my life, I never thought that I could get any sort of degree, or I didn't think I was smart enough. I really had a very, very low self-confidence. And so I started working on an art degree and realized that that's not what I wanted to do. I promise this has everything to do with my why, but all of this context will really paint the picture for you. Realized I didn't want to get my art degree, and I was a little bit stuck. And I happened to actually meet Jenna, And healthcare was something that blew me away. I started at this hospital here in town, parking cars. I remember running in the rain to park people's cars, and it taught me a lot about hard work, and also it taught me a lot about service. It taught me a lot about treating people well, and because I wasn't treated well every single time someone handed me their keys to park their car. So eventually I was like, let me get inside the hospital. Let me get a stable job. All that's cool. I did that. I became a patient transporter for 2.5 years. I started, pushing people to and from procedures, stuff like that. And eventually I met 2 male nurses, and for some reason it struck a chord with me. Talked to them, and one of them pulled me in a room with a patient. And at this time, we used to pull those PICC lines, the lines that go in right here. We used to pull those, cut the tip, and see if that's where the infection source was. That's what we did at that time. I didn't know any of that. I had never seen any of these lines or anything like that. But he pulled me aside, and he was like, come in here. We gowned up, and I had never seen anything like this. He pulls this line out of this person that was no joke right here. It was about 1.5 inches long. He pulls it out and then has me cut the tip of it to send it to be cultured. It blew my brain. I was blown away. And then the following day or 2 days later, he was like, hey, just so you know, that was the source of the infection. Started the patient on antibiotics. We're good. I was blown away by that. I loved that so much that we had that technology. So went off to school, became a nurse. Throughout all of that, I was going to the gym and building my brain. I failed my nursing boards the first time. I worked really, really hard to study and pass it the second time. I'm very proud to say that I failed it the first time, because when I went back to take it again, I walked out of that test and knew that I crushed it because I had worked my ass off to pass the test. But anyway, I say all that to say that I got into healthcare and saw that there's so much proactive measure in fitness. And I worked in an ICU setting. I was a hospice nurse. I saw a lot of suffering. I saw a lot of death. And I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful that I was able to help in those times for patients that didn't have very long and that were suffering. I'm glad that I could be there and have a hand in that and help. But the amount of perspective that I gained throughout that entire process and what I just told you led to this feeling that I had in 2016 is when it started. And I had this feeling of this like void. I could almost picture this black space void that I was sort of being pulled to. And Jenna can attest that I said this at that time. I said, there's something that I'm supposed to do. I don't know what it is yet. And in 2017, that's when I started Matt Lean Fitness. And it just grew to what it is right this very moment, to me having this conversation, to me talking about this. But it was such a process of self-development, and the whole be better than yesterday every day is such a monumental moment for me. Throughout my whole fitness progress, I went to a dark place with my bodybuilding where I was never big enough, I was never lean enough, I was never good enough. And I remember the day where I was just beating myself up. And we talked about this on yesterday's live, that beating yourself up does nothing productive. So I was like, you know what? Instead of beating myself up, like, what if I just tried to progress today? Let's just get to tomorrow. Let's progress today and get to tomorrow. And if I can get to tomorrow being better today, like, I'm winning. So I adopted that and ran with it. And I remember the first time I ever said it, better than yesterday every day, it stuck with me. Lo and behold, it became a big part of this business that I am doing now. So I believe that I am a vessel. I believe that I have been given something, that I've found this thing that I was supposed to find, that I'm a vessel of fitness, wellness, mental fitness to be specific. That was a long, drawn-out story to tell you how I ended up. My why, every bit of that is what my why is now. And if I didn't have my why, I wouldn't be doing this after 3 years. I know that in 10 years, I will have a very similar why. It might evolve, and I think it's okay. Jenna's always expressed the same, that your why can evolve. And my why did evolve somewhat, but it ultimately is the precipice of it, like the peak of it has been impacting you. And I can't tell you how energized I was after that live last night. I was actually even more, I was still energized today. And like, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. And I believe that your happiness is a damn good why. So that was the why. Good Lord, that was a long why. How long was that? How long? Yeah, it was 15 minutes of me talking. So probably a good solid 10 minutes of me talking about my why. So I want you guys now, I'd like to see you drop your why for whatever it is that you're doing. So your why can be, your why for fitness, or your why for wellness, or your why for, self-improvement, your why to go to college and get a job. Your why is perfect if it's what you want, if it's your driving force. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, Roman just, so if you're listening right now, because this is going to be a podcast, if you're listening, Roman just showed up in doggo cam. We got some dog action. Let's see here. Alex W, does everything you do further the why? How did you saying yes to Holden fit into that? Alex, that's a really good question. So shout out to Alex. He's in the UK and it's close to 2 a.m. We called him in yesterday. It was great talking to you. Does everything you do further the why? I believe it does, because that cliche saying of like all your mistakes, like that adds up to all your experience. It's true. How did saying yes to Holden fit into that? So I have a video that's coming out at some point called Then and Now that I'm going to be doing probably every single year, but I did it in 18 and 19, and basically it was a comparison of like where I'm at, what are my goals, and blah blah blah. If you saw Billie Eilish, she did that Then and Now video. But there was a point in this YouTube channel that I thought things were too sterile. They were a little bit too much, like it felt too fluff. It felt too clean. It felt too generic. It felt too sterile. And I just wanted to be around other people that wanted to create. Obviously Holden, his message or his channel is not about fitness, but I just wanted to be around people that wanted to create. So when I said yes to Holden, I said yes to anything with him. Like I told him, I said, dude, I'll hold the camera, I'll cook you food, I will hold a light, I'll do anything I have to do to just be near you, a creator, because he puts his heart and soul into it. So, and I grew from that. I learned how to edit better. I'm learning film now. Like I'm learning so much, and had it not been for these movies, I wouldn't have learned what I'm learning now. Y'all are saying lag. Hang tight. Hold on.